Rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, so I didn't say, calling the meeting to order at 7:37. Clerk Spencer, I'd ask you to please call the roll.
Deuter.
Here.
Sabatino.
Here.
Leader.
Here.
Dunn.
Here.
Graham.
Here.
Holumsky.
Here.
York.
Here.
Toledo.
Here.
Healy.
Here.
Levin.
Here.
Kennedy.
Here.
Conquist.
Here.
Wagner.
Here.
Mulliner.
Here.
14 present, 0 absent.
14 present, 0 absent. We have a quorum. We are in session. One of the better parts of these types of meetings, we actually have someone from our police department we get to swear in and promote. So I'm going to ask Sergeant Mandat and his family to join me right up here. Like automatic. Let's come up here so everyone can see. All right, so why don't you tell me who we have here?
My wife Linda is our operator.
And Morgan? Morgan, you ready to go?
Ooh, look out.
You clearly have a lot of support here in the audience. So I'll ask you to please raise your right hand. Oh, thank you. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Steve Mandat, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Illinois, and the ordinances of the City of Elmhurst, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the Office of Police Sergeant according to the best of my ability. Congratulations. Yeah! All right. Hey, come here. We got to do a picture. Come on, we got to do a picture. Stand right here. It's either Dad carries you or I do. You want to come with me? Chief? Chief's coming on in? Okay. All right, look at the press. Great, you good? All right. Congratulations again. Thank you very much.
Steve.
Walk around. As is our tradition, we're asking you to allow council members to offer you a personal congratulations. Watch the promotion. Coming down over there.
Congratulations.
Take a header.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Congratulations and best of luck. You have a helper. Steers fast. Watch out. The steers scare me, especially someone who's.
Geez, something.
Congratulations. Very good. Congratulations. Good luck. Sergeant. Congratulations. Watch your step.
Yeah, watch your step. Congratulations.
Okay. On to agenda item number 4, receipt of written communications from the public. At this time, is there anybody in the audience who has any written communication they wish to turn in? Please, if so, please raise your hand. Anyone? Got one person, 2 people, or the same person? Same person. Come on up. Anyone else? Please hand whatever you have to offer to Clerk Spencer right here.
Right over here.
Right here?
Over here.
Right there.
You.
Okay, anyone else? Seeing none, we'll move on to the public forum portion of our meeting. Public forum is an opportunity for anybody in the audience to address the council on any item they so choose. Out of respect the amount of work we have to get done this evening, and out of respect for other folks who may want to speak, we ask that you keep your comments to 3 minutes. If you go over 3 minutes, I will give you a gentle reminder and ask you to wrap it up. When you are identified, we ask that you step to the far microphone over here and identify yourself, first name, last name, and addresses are optional. At this time, Clerk Spencer, is there anyone who has signed up for public forum?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, and I'll start with Gilbert R. Fisher, 586 North Van Auken.
Gilbert Fisher, 586 North Van Auken. First of all, I'd like to say God bless every police officer, policewoman, police fireman, and policewoman in the United States of America. What happened tonight was very, very important. Thank you. I received my electric bill, $51.72. Under this, I have taxes. Environmental Cost Recovery Act tax, 9 cents. Energy Efficiency Program tax, 66 cents. Franchise cost tax, 72 cents. State of Illinois tax, 96 cents. Municipal tax for the city of Elmhurst, $1.64. To me, this is corruption. In my personal opinion, the government in this building is so corrupt, you don't even realize it. My wife and I walk around town, and we see a lot of empty stores. There's little plaques out there. If interested in this empty building, contact the city of Elmhurst. We will pay you $10,000 to help you move in. Some plaques are for $12,000. Some plaques are even up to $20,000 from the city of Elmhurst. We have a government that pays between $8 and $9, $10 million for property, and then they turn around and give it to a company for $1 million. This is corruption. You are responsible for the money from the citizens of Elmhurst. You are held at a higher standard. I don't know how to explain this to you, but I am a married man. I live at the corner of Van Auken and Gladys. When I go home, 99.9% of the time, I'm driving with my wife. And when I come across Michigan Avenue to Gladys, I slow down. And my lovely little wife says, "Why are you driving so slow? You always drive so slow. You drive slow. You don't know how to drive." I'm a married man. No big thing. My car had to go into the shop. My wife picked me up and insisted on driving home down Gladys. Came down Michigan, made a left-hand turn to go east on Gladys. Speed limit is 25. She's going 24 miles an hour when she hits the first hole. The car jumps up in the air. She gets scared. She loses control, slams on the brake. And she looks at me. I am a married man. I said, "Hey, babes, why don't you drive on the left-hand side of the road? It's a lot smoother. There's 4 more bumps up there that'll rattle the car really bad." Now, we've driven over this street many times. She knows the holes are there. I'm a married man. Why do you drive so slow? This is corruption. You can pay strangers $10,000 to move into town. Please come into our town. They know our town is no good. We have to beg them and pay them to come into it.
Mr. Fisher, you're at
Please.
your 3 minutes. I'd ask you to
Yes.
wrap it up.
Please straighten it out, stop whatever you're doing, and go back to fixing our streets, our curbs, our sewers, and our water system. Thank you very much.
Michael Cremery.
Michael, Michael Crumry, 570 West Crockett. Chapter 22, Article 11, Signs. History of the communication over the last 16 months. Brought a little visual aid here for you. 120 pages of emails and letters indicating violations of the sign ordinance. And that's not specifically the A-frame sign. It's the entire chapter 22, Article 11. Over 40 photos were provided. An example of an email that an alderman sent on March 21st to Jim, Mike, is there a reason we do not enforce our current ordinance against the use of A-frame or sandwich board signs? 4 days later, after no reply, a follow-up email was sent on March 25th. Quote, follow up since I haven't seen a response. Unfortunately, that email did not receive a reply. And did I mention those emails are from 2014, March 2014. So even if an alderman is not provided the courtesy of a response, then the residents of Elmhurst should adjust their expectations to that same low level. How many actual sign violation fines were issued during that 16-month time frame? That's right, 0, none. Not a single penny in fines was paid for the entire Chapter 22, Article 11 signs. During that same 16-month time frame, is it possible that the city did not issue any parking tickets in the downtown business district? No fines to Elmhurst residents for vehicle sticker violations? No tickets for rolling a stop sign or a red light? After the March 2014 non-reply to the alderman, the city manager did send an email on March 25th. Thane, where are we with the changes on the codes for A-frames? To which Thane Warner replied on March 26th, Jim, I am of the opinion that the language for the sandwich board signs, as well as other contemplated sign amendments, are ready to be presented as a text amendment. City Center Signs Subcommittee meets this morning at 8:30. So the city manager is asking when the wording to the code will be changed so he doesn't even have to enforce it. The city center representing the very businesses that are violating the sign ordinances, yet they get to modify the wording of the Elmhurst Municipal Code. Glad that Police Chief Ruth joined us again. So I'll be sure to try that next time I get pulled over for driving through a red light at York and North Avenue. I'll tell the officer that a subcommittee of Elmhurst residents recommends that York and North Avenue not even be a lighted intersection. So again, I will state, as I've stated multiple times, Mayor Morley, City Manager Grabowski, why are you not upholding the oath of your office to enforce the Elmhurst City Code of Ordinances?
Claude Pagash, 566 West Gladys.
Claude Pagaч, 566 West Gladys. I was at last week's meeting. You had a consultant you hired. Had meetings with the public. Ran up a chart, said this is what the public's interested in. They'd like to see flooding solved. Well, we had a mayor before this. We had flooding in, and we spent money on a garage. We got a new mayor. What do we get with flooding? New garage. We have flooding, people come here and plead their case. Can't sell their homes. Homes flood. The city fails and endeavors not to get a hold of the county to make sure they pay property taxes. We spent an awful lot of money on Han. We're going to get nothing from it. And we haven't quite got done with the millions extra we're going to have to spend for retention. Curiosity about retention, we have Public Works that says, geez, we've got retention on Han. That's true. Public's paying for it. We got retention on the new parking garage. Public pays for it. Ordinance is passed by Public Works. Oh, you gotta have a tank under your driveway. People love it. They think it's wonderful. They're helping cut down on flooding. But there isn't a commercial enterprise that has been built or exists in this town that the Public Works has passed an ordinance to have them in any way, shape, or form help this issue with flooding. It's the resident. Ultimately, it's the resident. Put in rock gardens, put in tanks. And new houses, why are they tying into this gutter system in this town? Why are they tying into the gutter system? See, it's the resident. Without the resident to carry the load, there isn't a commercial enterprise in this town that's willing to reach in its pocket for a nickel. Alderman asked why funding, TIF funds, cannot be used on the garage. Well, can't do that. We got to pay for general obligation bonds.
Mr. Pragash, I'd ask you to wrap up, please.
And if this council ever decides that they'll stop paying Burke and come up with at least a minimum solution of digging a hole in the middle of a street, maybe we can save some money. But I doubt it seriously.
Mr. Mayor, that's all who signed in for public forum.
Okay, that's it for everyone who signed in for public forum at this time. Is there anyone who did not have an opportunity to sign in on our sign-in sheet but wishes to address the council? If so, please raise your hand. Seeing none, that concludes public forum. On to agenda item 6, announcements. Any announcements from the dais? Alderman Deuter.
Thank you, Mayor. Alderman Sabatino and I would like to invite all of the First Ward residents to a meeting this coming Wednesday at the library at 7 o'clock. We will be introducing the new alderman for the First Ward and having a discussion focused on our downtown.
Okay, any other announcements? Seeing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda. At this time, is there any item on the consent agenda any alderman wishes to have removed, to vote no, or provide comment? If so, please raise your hand. Seeing none, I will now entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as printed before us. Motion by Alderman York, second by Alderman Mulliner. Clerk Spencer.
York.
Aye.
Mulliner.
Aye.
Deuter.
Aye.
Sabatino.
Aye.
Leader.
Aye.
Dunn.
Aye.
Graham.
Aye.
Palumski.
Aye.
Toledo.
Aye.
Healy.
Aye.
Levin.
Aye.
Kennedy.
Aye.
Conquist.
Aye.
Wagner.
Aye.
14 ayes, 0 nays.
14 ayes, 0 nays, motion passes. A consent agenda passes in its entirety. Pardon me. Agenda item 8, reports and recommendations of appointed elected officials. 8.1, Mayor Morley. A couple of things. First, I want to make mention of what was just passed on the consent agenda, agenda item 7.4, committee appointments. It's one of the roles and responsibilities as mayor after every election that I ask council to provide me with their requests and desires, and then ultimately I take a look at where I think while I try to accommodate as many of those preferences as possible, I also have to balance what I think is committees that will ultimately perform the best for the council and for the city of Elmhurst. So I want to thank all of the council members for their input on this. I was able to accommodate most people's first requests. The people who first request I did not accommodate. I did have extensive conversations with, and I did put a lot of thought in this. Almost, Clerk Spencer asked me how long did I work on it, and I would say almost from the moment of the last meeting. I have been entertaining many different iterations, and ultimately I presented to the council what I thought which would best serve the residents of Elmhurst. That having been said, while I was pulling together these committee assignments, I asked city staff to dig into some things, because I think there's a deficiency in our committees as they sit right now, and that is roles and responsibilities of our committees. I asked city staff, when was the last time we actually dug into and reviewed roles and responsibilities, since the, certainly, you know, the city of Elmhurst is ever-changing. The best we could come up with at this point is it's been well over 25 years since we've reassessed roles and responsibilities. And I would point to a lot of new changes in our environment, specifically technology, communication, internet, smartphones, social media, et cetera. I feel that those are things that really have a place and a role and responsibility at the committee level. So I'm asking city staff, and we'll be asking the council and committees to take a look at their current roles and responsibilities and also entertain what can be added. The one I bring up specifically would be communication. I think that communication plays a key role, not only in the work that we do, but pushing out the information that, that is vital and important to our residents. And right now, that actually just falls to staff without any committee guidance. So I think that's one that, in my opinion, clearly falls to public affairs and safety. It's one that I'm looking forward to actually putting a little more thought behind and having some more measurable matrix behind it. Just to name one. I think there's a few others that we will be adding to the responsibilities of the committee. So I want to thank, again, the council members for their input. I'm looking forward to the new committees, but also to the enhanced roles of those committees. Couple other things. I had the opportunity, it was my pleasure to attend Museum Day. That was this last Sunday, where 3 of the museums in town allow people, the Elmhurst Historical Museum is free anyway, but the Lazadro Museum of Lapidary Art and the Art Museum hold a museum day where they allow folks to come in for free and experience the museum. And I traveled to all 3, actually traveled by trolley, very exciting, by trolley, went very smoothly, packed with kids having a good time. In fact, each museum had arts and crafts and something to do for kids. But what's interesting is I was very surprised at the amount of people from out of town that I met. I would say off the bat at least a dozen different people from when I walked into the art museum, reading all about the Mies van der Rohe house and everything else. So I asked the folks in charge as I made the tour, and as of 3:30, 4 o'clock, with an hour left, they were exceeding numbers from last year. They were over 500, and they thought they'd get to 600. So it was very successful. I think it was a great way to highlight not only the museums, but most recently our award-winning historical museum. We won an award for our electronic display up there. If you haven't had an opportunity to see that, it allows you to travel through time with pictures, and it's very interactive. So that's Museum Day. Thanks to everyone for their hard work on that. And then the last thing is I was approached by the since retired Bike Task Force. They gave me this League of Illinois Bicyclists Mayor's Bike Safety Challenge. And Alderman York actually is going to follow up on this with something I wholly endorse shortly. But I encourage everybody in town, not only the fellow aldermen, and we'll send out a press release on this, but all residents of Elmhurst to go to bikesafetyquiz.com, and you can achieve up to a gold level of participation. And it's really, you learn some stuff. It's about bike safety. It's how to interact with the roads, how to do it properly. And should you be so lucky to achieve gold, you will actually get a certificate that you can print out on your home computer. So I have achieved the gold level. I would encourage everyone to do so as we prep for our summer and our pending bike race. And that's it for me for reports and recommendations. City Manager Grabowski.
Thank you. Just a few things. A reminder for next week with the holiday, committees will be on Tuesday. So we'll get those agendas out. The downtown plan community meeting is on May 28th at 7 p.m. here at City Hall. So please get that word out to your email list if you would. And an update on the communications manager search. The applications haven't even closed yet. We have over 100 applicants. We are reviewing as we go through them to try to speed that process along. So we're moving through there. And then last, as timing would allow, last week we were able to celebrate Chief Bassiter's 30th anniversary with the city. So I just want to say thank you, Chief.
Parade Monday?
Yes, there is a parade on Monday, not for Chief Bassiter. Memorial Day Parade is on Monday. We did send information out to the council on lineup. We'll send it again at the end of the week as a reminder.
Okay, any other reports? Seeing no one, go on to other business. Any other business?
No, other business is fine.
Any other business? Alderman York.
Thank you, Your Honor. As you alluded to, what I'd like to ask you to do is consider proclaiming the week of June 15th to 19th as Bike to Work Week here in Elmhurst. The League of American Bicyclists has May as their National Bike Month, but as we all know, the weather in Elmhurst is a little bit iffy sometimes during May to get people actively involved on their bicycles and whatnot. So we celebrated a little bit later. I believe that Chairman Cronin, as he usually does when weather permits, is going to be riding his bike from Elmhurst to the DuPage County Center, Government Center, and we think that's going to happen on Tuesday, June 16th. I'll confirm that with you, and we can put out an open invitation for folks to join us on the bike ride. We usually have quite a nice contingent riding out there, including usually at least one Elmhurst police officer, which is very nice. So it's a great event. It's time to get everybody's bikes out and start enjoying the good weather and creating less pollution and getting places faster, actually. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Very good. Any other business? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion by Alderman Deuter, second by Alderman Toledo. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you, everybody.